Welcome to Release Your Potential Now with Jane, your weekly dose of energy, wisdom, and healing, where we explore how energy shapes your life and how you can shift it to thrive in every area physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Each week, we'll dive into practical tools, real-world examples, and quantum energy perspectives to help you stay positive, navigate challenges, and reclaim your personal power. Whether you're dealing with stress, seeking balance, or curious about the energetic world around you, this is your space for insight, growth, and transformation.
Okay, be honest with me for a second. There's something on your list right now, maybe a project, maybe a conversation, maybe a decision that you keep meaning to get to. And every day it doesn't happen, you tell yourself the same story. I'm just procrastinating. But here's what I want to explore with you today. What if procrastination isn't the real problem? What if it's just the loudest signal that something deeper is asking for your attention? Stay with me. This may help you see your stuck place in a whole new way. Welcome to Release Your Potential Now with Jane. I'm Jane Phillips, and I'm so glad you're here. We're starting a brand new May series today, and I've entitled this first episode, I'm Procrastinating. What's blocking you? Because I have a feeling this one is going to land for a lot of us. Last month, we spent April planting seeds. We talked about the goals you want to grow, the small steps that get you there, trusting the process, and protecting the garden of your life. This month, we're going one layer deeper because here's what I've noticed, both in my own life and in my clients' lives. Sometimes you plant the seed, you make the plan, you know what you want, you even know what the next step is, and then nothing happens. You stall, you avoid, you procrastinate, you feel tired, foggy, anxious, or strangely resistant to the very thing you said you wanted. You even might try to sabotage it. And right on cue, that inner critic shows up and says, "What is wrong with me?" Today, I want to offer you a much gentler and more useful question. What if nothing is wrong with you? What if something is hidden is holding you back? That's what we're exploring today, the hidden energies that quietly block your step. Have you ever had something on your list that should be simple? Make the phone call, send the email, clean out that drawer, or schedule the appointment, or at least start the project, or finish the one you've already started and has been sitting there for days. And somehow it feels impossible. Now, I do know as an energy healer that sometimes things just aren't going to go well, and it's planetary or astrology or something else, or your horoscope. But you walk by your pile every day, you think about that phone call 10 times, you open the document, stare at it, and close it again. From the outside, it looks like laziness, but from the inside, it feels like something else entirely. It feels like the heaviness or dread or confusion, irritation, maybe quiet, frustrating sense of, I just can't make myself do it. And that's what I want to look at today. Because my work as a medical intuitive and energy clearing practitioner, I've seen this over and over. People are often fighting things they cannot see. They try to solve an energetic issue with willpower alone, and that is exhausting. When I talk about hidden energies, I'm talking about emotional and energetic patterns that may be operating beneath the surface of your awareness. These can be old emotional energies, trauma imprints, negative thought patterns, perhaps inherited family patterns, other people's energy, interfering type energies, or energy connected to a place, a relationship, or a painful experience from long ago that you have not released. Sometimes these energies were created years ago in a difficult season, a shock, a loss, a betrayal, an illness, a stretch of fear, And sometimes people have carried them for so long that they've come to believe this is just who I am. But here's the truth I want you to hear today. It may not be who you are. It may be what you are carrying. And there is a big difference. You're not the block. You're not the fear. You're not the procrastination. You are not the old pain. You are the person beneath all of that. And as the energy begins to clear, your own light, your own wisdom, and your own motivation can start to come forward again. One of the biggest blocks I see in my clients is self-blame. And it sounds like this. I should be further along by now. Or I always mess up. I never finish what I start. I don't know why that is. I know better. So why don't I do better? I must not want it badly enough. That kind of thinking doesn't create movement. It creates shame. And shame is heavy, and it makes us hide, avoid, or shrink, and makes the next step feel even harder than it already did in the beginning. So today, I want to invite you into a small but powerful shift from blame to curiosity. Instead of asking, what's wrong with me? Try asking, what am I carrying? What feels heavy about this? What am I afraid might happen if I actually move forward? Whose voice does this criticism sound like? Could be a family member, a friend, a former partner. And when did I first start feeling this way? These questions don't force the answer. They open a simple door. And awareness almost always is first step toward release. So hidden energetic blocks can wear a lot of different costumes. Let's name a few you might recognize. They might show up as procrastination, putting off something that genuinely matters to you, not because you don't care, and not because some part of you is afraid, and because some part of you is afraid of what might change if you actually succeed. That can be scary. Second, they show up as confusion, these blocks. Too many ideas, too many options. You can't tell what's first, so you do nothing. And third, they show up as emotional heaviness. You feel tired before you even begin. A task that shouldn't be hard feels like it weighs 100 pounds. Fourth, they show up as self-sabotage. You make progress, and suddenly you distract yourself. Maybe pick a fight, maybe feel overwhelmed, or quietly abandon the plan. And fifth, the big one, they show up as fear of being seen. Because moving forward usually means becoming more visible. It means people are going to see your work, hear your voice, be aware of your gifts and your choices and the next level version of you. And for many of us, visibility doesn't feel safe. We're afraid of being judged or criticized, so we stay small, not because we lack potential, but because some part of us is trying to keep us safe. And that's why exactly I named this show Release Your Potential Now. Your potential is already there. The work isn't about forcing yourself to become someone new. The work is about releasing what's blocking the person you already are. And since we're coming out of April's spring planting theme, let's me stay with the garden for a moment. Imagine you plant a beautiful seed. You water it, you give it sunlight, you care about it deeply. But under the soil, there's a rock. The seed wants to grow. It's trying to grow, but its roots can't go any deeper. Now, you could yell at the seed. Yep, you could say, why aren't you growing? You should be blooming. What's wrong with you? But the seed, the idea, your goal, isn't the problem. The rock is the problem. And that's how hidden energy blocks work. You may be trying with everything you've got, but something underneath the surface is restricting your roots. So instead of blaming yourself, you can ask, what is the rock under my soil? What's restricting my roots? What needs to be released so I can grow? That is much kinder and much more powerful and a place to begin. I want to talk about a little bit about what I do in sessions. I recently, in February of this year, became body code certified. I'm already a certified medical intuitive and quantum energy practitioner. But I want to take a moment to share some of this. This is close to my heart because it connects directly to what we've been talking about. In my practice, one of the tools that I've recently started to use is the body code. It's a beautiful, gentle method that helps me identify and release the kinds of hidden blocks and energies we've been describing, including the beliefs that run quietly in the background and keep you stuck. It could be a belief it's not safe to be seen. I always have to do it alone. If I succeed, someone will be upset with me and you'll get criticized, or I'm not the kind of person who finishes things. I want to tell a story that is similar to what I do with the body code, which allows me to talk to your subconscious to do the healing work. This was years ago when I had just become a coach, and I had learned that for some reason, I was able to use guided imagery to help people in my coaching sessions. I had a friend of mine who was a business friend, and she and I were having coffee, and she confessed to me that she had a situation where she had handled a client situation poorly, and it really upset her. She didn't know what to do about it, and it had been 2 weeks that she was literally shut down. She could not, people knew something was the matter. Her husband even knew something was the matter, and she couldn't talk about it. But she shared with me, not the specific details, but how she was aware she had handled a client poorly, and she just didn't know how to deal with it. And so we were sitting at the back of a coffee shop, and I said, okay, I want you to close your eyes. Think about this situation with this client and tell me what you're noticing. And she said, well, I'm in the middle of the ocean. It's a small boat. I'm by myself. And there is a huge wave coming straight at me. So I said, I want you to just take the wave. Nobody in this coffee shop can see you, and I'm going to be with you. I want you to just take the wave. And so she bravely did. And it's scary. You got a big wave in the ocean coming at you. And it washed over her. And now she's floating in her boat. She hadn't capsized, but she was floating. She was a little wet in her mind. And I said, how are you doing? She says, well, I'm still here. And I said, tell me what it looks like around you. And she said, well, the wave's gone. The sky's still pretty dark. And the ocean doesn't look really very calm at this moment. I said, okay, so you're going to just sit in the boat and we're going to wait and see if the sun comes out. So I let her sit there and I just held space. I didn't talk. And after about 5 minutes, she said, the sun's out and it's all calm. She opened her eyes and she looked at me and she said, oh my God, I know what to do. I can do this. I need to get hold. I know what to say to the client. I know what to do to handle it. And she looked at me and she said, wow, I need to hire you. So she was my first client. I had just gotten certified. So when I learned that and watched that with her, fast forward to what I'm doing with the body code and the work that I do as a medical intuitive, I have learned that we have all of these fears and beliefs in us that we don't even know we have. And it's really difficult to identify them without some support or some deep introspection on your part. So most people don't even know how to verbalize their beliefs, and you may not even know you're carrying them, but those beliefs can sit underneath procrastination like the rock under the soil, quietly stopping the roots from going deeper. So in my body code sessions, which allows me to talk to your subconscious versus just you. So your subconscious is now, I'm a medical intuitive, I'm intuitive and a psychic medium. So your subconscious has the ability to talk to me and provide information through the Body Code app, which is an online computer app. And sometimes my other intuitive abilities come into play. But with your body code and your subconscious knows you by heart, knows everything about you, everything in your mind. And with the use of the body code, it can feed information through this code to me to help you move forward. So it helps you to intuitively find those hidden beliefs and emotions tied to them, and then release them gently and respectfully, and at the pace that your system is ready for. And this body code app has a whole bunch of beliefs and ideas, such as idea allergies or broadcast messages you don't even know you're sending information out to others so they don't treat you well. So many of my clients will tell me after a session, the thing they've been avoiding for weeks feels lighter, more approachable, and sometimes even easy, like what happened years ago with this client of mine. So if something in you is leaning forward as I describe this, I'd love to work with you. And you can learn more and book a session at janecphillips.com. And it could be just a consult to see if what you've got going on is something I can help you with. So what do you do when you feel blocked? Let's bring this into your everyday life. When you feel blocked, please don't start by attacking yourself. Start by slowing down, taking a breath, putting your hand on your heart, and just sit quietly for a moment. And then ask yourself, what is heavy here? What's the next small step? What could I finish that would give me relief? What's first? Now, you've heard me say two things before that I keep close to me. And I want to say them again today because they apply right here. First things first, and finish what you start. Simple, but powerful. Because overwhelm usually comes from trying to do everything at once. You see the whole mountain, and your nervous system says, no, thank you. And you don't have to climb the whole mountain today. You only need the next right step. First things first. And then when you can, finish what you start. That might mean finishing the email, finishing the phone call, finishing one drawer, not the whole room, and finishing one page, not the whole project. Small, consistent steps create movement, and movement creates confidence. This also helps you focus on the gain instead of the gap. And the gain is the progress you've made toward the goal or whatever you wanted to accomplish. And the gap is that mountain in front of you that looks so far distant, and you keep noticing how far you have to go. So when you look at the gain is where you look back and say, wait a minute, I have made progress. Maybe you're not finished. Maybe everything isn't perfect. Maybe the whole garden isn't blooming yet, but you did take one step. Did you clear one thing? Did you finish one piece? And for those of us with anxiety, that makes a huge difference, especially if you're looking at what's most important and doing first things first. That matters. When you focus only on the gap, you'll feel discouraged. When you focus on the gain, you remember the progress is happening, and that's encouragement that keeps you going. So here's a simple reflection you can take with you when this episode ends. Think of one area where you feel stuck, not 10, just one. It might be your health, your home, money, work, relationship, a creative project, a decision, a goal you set for this year. And you may have set as we did in March and April, you may have set 3 goals, or you decide to be ambitious and do 4, but now you're in overwhelm because they're all big. So pick one of those, the one that really feels most important. And now sit with that and with 3 questions. Pick that goal. What do I keep avoiding? What is that you're avoiding? And 2, what does this avoidance feel like in my body? Because your body is going to tell you, give you a lot of information. And number 3 is, what is one small step I could take this week? And you're not trying to do one small step every day. It might be too much. What is some small step that you can take that will move you forward? Keep it simple. Your small step could be just making a list of what needs to get done. I do a to-do list every day. Sometimes I skip and then I miss that I did that, but it brings to the forefront the things that are possibly in my way. And then I get to figure out what's the most important thing to start with. So a small step might be the list, or clearing your desk, sending a one text, or paying a bill you've been avoiding, scheduling an appointment, maybe taking a walk. And when I'm overwhelmed, I have some anxiety myself. I just get out, even if I just walk down to the park that's near me and back, and that takes 10 minutes, it clears my head. It's okay to ask for help as your simple thing, or put something on your calendar so you don't keep holding it in your head. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It just has to be real, because one small completed step can begin to loosen the energy. And often, once that first step is done, the next step suddenly becomes easier to see. You don't have to do everything first. One last thing before we close. A lot of people stay stuck because they need to understand the whole block before they're allowed to move. They want to analyze every layer, trace every pattern back to its origin, solve every old wound first. But here's the good news. You don't have to do it all today. Sometimes you simply need to notice that something feels heavy, that it feels old. It doesn't feel like the real you. It might be a goal you set or something you thought you wanted, but it just doesn't feel like the real you. That might be something the small step is to drop it. Or you might be ready for this to shift. That willingness, the one moment of saying yes, is enormous. You're giving your system permission to release what no longer supports you. You're opening the door to change. And that, very often, is exactly where healing begins. So as we begin this May series together, today is Cinco de Mayo for people who celebrate that. And as an sidebar, it's the Battle of Puebla in Mexico, when there was a big battle, but it wasn't in Independence Day. A lot of people think that is. But today is May 5th, and I want to leave you with this. If you're feeling stuck, please don't assume you're lazy. Don't assume you're broken. Don't assume you're failing, that you're never going to get it right. Get curious instead. There may be something hidden under the surface that's ready to be seen, cleared, released, or healed. Your potential is still there. Your next step is still there. And you don't have to force your way forward with shame or pressure. You can simply begin with one small step. First things first, finish what you start, and notice the gain, not the gap, and let yourself grow from there. Next week, we'll continue this May series with an episode called Feel Lighter, Calmer, More Free. What happens when energy clears? We'll talk about how energy clearing can shift the way you feel in your body, your mind, your relationship, and your daily life. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. This is Release Your Potential Now with Jane. I'm Jane Phillips. To learn more about my work or to schedule a body code or energy clearing heat session, visit janecphillips.com.
You've been listening to Release Your Potential Now with Jane, your weekly dose of energy, wisdom, and healing. Tune in on Transformation Talk Radio to unlock the power of energy healing and transform your life one insight at a time. Share this episode with a friend who's feeling stuck and might benefit from a little extra support on their journey. Together, we can create a ripple effect of healing and positivity, empowering individuals to live healthier, more joyful lives. Are you ready to gain control of your life and health? Then visit janecphillips.com to book a session, join a workshop, or explore how energy wisdom can help you heal and thrive.